So if you could choose, would you rather be 23 today or 23 20 years ago? And if you ask any generation, they're always going to be like, yeah, the next generation had it way easier. And like for instance, I was talking to like my mom. She was like, you guys got phones nowadays, you guys got Google, AI, a whole bunch of bullshit, right? And you're not wrong. Like certain aspects of life is definitely easier. Like I feel like passing tests. I feel like right now, if I was in high school, due to ChatGPT and all of the other stuff, like I would be flying through my tests because I was always known as like a good ass cheater, right? Like I could always cheat on a test no matter what. So if I had ChatGPT with guaranteed answers for the most part, with me or any type of AI system, bro, I would have been cooked every single test, right? But yeah, like I said, she wasn't wrong. We do have more technology, we got more convenience, we have more opportunities, we got shit like that. But that's not really telling the whole story. I feel like it's not easier or harder. It's neither. If you're going to really compare it to back then, things just changed. We have different rules. So the shit that we got to deal with today, they didn't have to deal with. But the shit that they had to deal with for the most part, we ain't have to deal with, right? But the one thing that I will say that was easier for them was it was easier to be successful at being average compared to now it's harder to be average, but easier for us to be successful or be above average. And that might sound super crazy. Like, what does that mean? Let me break that down for y'all. Like back then, for the most part, I'm not, of course, this is just a general, you feel me? It's not just 100%, but for the most part, it's your first full-time job. Save up some cheese and maybe go buy a house and start your family. Maybe you have like two, three kids and you'll be all set, right? You can pay for your bills, you can pay for your groceries, you can do all that shit, right? But now, today, bro, I promise you 99.9.9.9% of people are not going to be able to live off their first full-time job and start a family, buy a house, buy a car, and do all that shit, right? So that's what I mean when it's harder to be average nowadays because everybody would follow that same path. But if you try to follow the blueprint nowadays, where you go to school, go to college, get a full-time job, and just lock in and start a family, most parts not going to work out for you, right? But then when I say it's easier to be above average, we have so much different ways with technology and social media and things of that nature to get rich now. Like anybody can go start a clothing brand. Anybody can start a YouTube channel. Anybody can get lit off social media. You can become a singer. You can do stocks. You can do crypto. You can start an AI automation business. There's so much shit you could do. So even though not everybody's gonna take advantage of that and become rich, if you really lock in, I feel like if anybody decided to lock in on something they really want to do, any one of those choices, then you would get rich. You would get rich. And of course, there's never 100% anything, but I feel like whenever it's something like that, it's just the fact that you were not doing something that fits you right or fits what you wanted to do right. One or two, you really weren't putting your all into it. So that's why I say it's easier to be above average, but it's hard to be average nowadays compared to back then. I feel like it was damn near a paywall, like that was behind to get rich. Like you really didn't see much millionaires and billionaires that could just teach you how to do it, right? It would be like, oh, that's that one guy, and it's like he's damn near like a tale or something. He's not even real. Like he's just somebody that you kind of hear the stories, but you don't even know how he got rich. But whole time it was really probably off family's money or something like that, or some unethical business practices that he'd been doing for like years. But yeah, that's like the main point, or not. That's not the main point. That's the first point. Second point I want to make is we do have too much freedom. That's what I would say is kind of bad about nowadays. Like back in the day, you would probably be like, yeah, I'm coming home from work, 12-hour shift. Got to my wife either cook, or if you're single, then you got to go cook, right? It wasn't really too much choices. But nowadays, it's like we basically have everything. We have fast food. If we want to maybe have DoorDash or bring us a five-star restaurant to the crib, you could do that, right? Compared to going home, cooking, eating something healthy, eating something you watch being prepared. We're seeing so much different stories on DoorDash or Uber Eats. I seen people peeing or shitting in people's food. I seen somebody pepper spray somebody's food. Seen people poison people's food. Compared to back then, they didn't even have the choice. They didn't have that choice. So, of course, yeah, it's a good thing that yeah we could sit on our ass, watch TV all day, and have the food come to us. But all the negative shit that comes with it, us getting obese and things of that nature, that's because of the unlimited options we have. And no matter what situation we're in, the more decisions you have to make is always going to end up bad in the long term. Because let's say, I think it was David Goggins said this. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But it's like the less decisions you have to make for the day, the more successful you will be. And what he means by that is like somebody who goes out and knows what they're gonna wear for the next day, lays it out, packs their bags, has everything ready for the next day, and just wakes up, get ready, and go. Always gonna be more successful than the person that wakes up the next morning and just on spot kind of like thinks about what they're doing. Oh, I don't even know what I'm about to wear today. Damn, I don't know what I'm about to eat today. So if you had the less decisions you have to make, I feel like that person is always going to be successful. And that kind of bleeds back into us having way too much decisions, way too much choices. Because if we already knew what we were going to do, we would just be more efficient overall. Back then, they didn't have all these choices we have. They didn't have all these clothing choices, food choices. Like, you feel me? It's just a whole different ball game back then. So that's one plus side I do. Plus that I do think that side has the 20 years ago there. And last but not least, we have to touch bases on it. We have to touch bases on this every single fucking video. But we're back to like relationships, right? So back then, 20 years ago, you'd probably either either like find somebody in your town or probably marry your high school crush. How many people do you know in your life that end up marrying their high school sweetheart in this day and age? Like not much. That shit does not really even happen nowadays, right? And that shit is like something that not most, I'm not gonna say most, but it was a story that you heard all the time back then. I feel like everybody has some old head around them in their family or uncle, aunt, grandpa, some shit that married their high school crush, and that was just normality for them. But nowadays, it's like that shit's damn near impossible. We have so much different shit going on, especially with social media. I'm not gonna harp on it again, but we already know females have so much more options. Everybody, guys have more options too. We're so desensitized, and so many people are becoming like incels and shit like that. So it's like a whole different ball game where like we're low key cooked. Back then, like I feel like anybody could pull anybody just because you're not seeing as many options. Like I can go the 10 is gonna settle with somebody if there's no 10 guys in her area that she finds attractive as a 10. But nowadays it's like girls are not gonna just settle with the ugliest guy. They're probably not even gonna settle with the one guy that they think is a 10. They're gonna need like five, six, seven dudes like all up in their phone nowadays until they're bored, worn out, and want to get married. But like another thing is, back then I feel like it was a lot less likely to be cheated on too, because of course, like if you found like today, right? If you find your girlfriend going, if you went through your girlfriend's phone and you found her like on Hinge or whatever, right? And you looking at Hinge, you're like, what the fuck? Why you on Hinge? But back in the day, like that wouldn't even been a chance to happen because they didn't even have Hinge. And I know somebody's gonna be like, hey, if she's gonna cheat now, she's gonna cheat back then, right? No, that's like the same thing as saying as somebody 50 years ago, before we had all these fast food restaurants and all this sugar in our fucking food, that same person that's fat today would have been fat back then. No, like I said, adding choices to everything makes shit kind of go overboard. So I feel like a lot of girls nowadays, since they have so much options and they've been used to this their entire life because they're living in this generation, they kind of got overstimulated. They kind of everything is oversaturated, so they don't really have any backbone in saying, "Hey, like I want one guy, like blah 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 blah," because they never went through back then where they only seen three, four guys for like 10 years of their. I'm exaggerating, of course, but they only seen a certain handful of guys their entire life compared to nowadays. Like I said in my first video or second video, I probably see more bitches on Instagram today than my grandpa ever seen his entire life. You feel me? So shit's crazy. Shit's crazy as hell. But this is how it is. So like I don't think people in their 20s today necessarily have it easier. I don't think people in their 20 years ago necessarily have it easier either. But like every generation is going to get like a different version of adulthood. We're gonna have different problems, different choices that we have to make. And a different path. But today, I will say we do have a lot more freedom. We do have a lot more choices, but those can be better for us or worse than us because we have to kind of build the path ourselves. Either time frame you want to go with, bro, nothing's perfect. Everything's just different, and I think that's across the board with most topics. If you ever want to talk about if it's easier to be a boy or a girl or anything like that, it's all just different problems. Nothing's ever easier. Nothing's ever harder. But if you really had the choice, question of the day, would you rather be 23 today or 23 20 years ago? Let me know. Overly Tech, another food for thought, and we out.